All right. Welcome to the show. I am Jacob, and welcome to the episode that is on both YouTube and all major podcast streaming platforms, as per usual. Now, why did I do it this way? Well, because there's some visual things I want to do for the YouTube channel, and of course, everybody listening. I think this is a good bunch of topics that need to be discussed. Now, I want to thank everybody first that has listened and viewed the show on YouTube. Thank you so much. Numbers have been growing. It's fantastic. Love the views. I appreciate every single one of you. Now, a couple topics today. We're going to be talking about, look at my list here, some YouTube, some Spotify playlists. We're going to get into detail about that for the artists, because today's podcast is called For Podcasters and Musicians. Now, why? Because there's some little discoveries I had this week that are, I think, very interesting from my perspective to artist perspectives. Think of other issues that I need to tackle here along the way. So let's get into it, because there's some YouTube, Spotify, indie music, promotion, some podcasting, and some spam information I'm going to get into today. So that's some interesting stuff there. So let's do that. First off, YouTube. Why am I on YouTube? Well, YouTube is growing. It's just one of those mediums that I figured I have to attack slowly. So there's been some videos posted over here, and it's been doing okay, and it's been doing good enough where I feel comfortable where I could contribute at least once every couple of weeks with something interesting, and here we are. So it's making a little bit of a difference, and why not? Just another options for people that don't want to use Spotify or Apple or whatever. They just want to use YouTube. Cool, that's cool. You can see more of this space. So yeah, why not? For those watching YouTube, actually, love my hat. Okay, there you go. That's the new affiliate program for Bucked Up. Go check it out. Link in bio in the link tree. You get some free things, free sample. Go check that out. You just click on the link. It's right above the merchandise link. Go check that out. Now for Spotify playlist in particular is very interesting, because everybody always asks me, Spotify playlist, how do I get on it? Get on the Spotify playlist from my show. There's one way. You have to be a guest on the show. You want to be a guest, fantastic processes there are there. Email me, DM me. There's a process to that. It looks fantastic, because what I do for the Spotify playlist is there's a promo image that's part of the playlist. And what I did is just put a bunch of artists there. Now, the question that I get more now is, how are some of these artists on the cover? How do you get on that? Well, it's a good question, because, you know, the way to get on the playlist is to be a guest on the show. Now, there's a way to be on the cover image where your image will be part of the, I think, 8 or 9 artist images, part of the main cover piece for the Spotify playlist. And the main way I decide who goes on that is very simple. On my end, I get tons of information coming through where people support, where they like, follow, subscribe, share. They're involved in my community. So if there's artists that are extremely involved in my community, where they're always sharing, they're always liking, they're always involved, where I get to see them being involved, that's how these artists get on that playlist cover image. So it's just one of those perks. Now, we'll talk later about music promotion, and well, we'll get to it very shortly, but it's part of it. It's part of this show's support for independent artists. That's one of the ways I help the community, and hopefully it helps getting their images out in recognition and things like that. So that's part of it. And besides the playlist, that, and it's always being shared, hopefully it supports the artist, of course, being interviewed and all other stuff, but it's just a little thing that I get a lot of questions on. I wanted to address, and that's what that is. Promo image for the playlist that gets promoted at least once or twice a week, all on its own, has its own image. You'll whatever artists you see there have been the most active in supporting this show, and obviously that changes, because it just does. And if there's more artists that come on the show, and then they have to move everybody around. It's just being fair to everybody else. So I appreciate everybody that have been on the show. There's a top 10 video that's out there for top 10 episodes. And if you want your episode to be more promoted with that, you want to be more supportive of the community, this is the best way. Just share, like, and all other cool stuff. Now, What does this have to do with promotion? A lot. Because two things. One of them things that is very important from the indie artist angle is your expectations. Because not everybody's expectations are the same. I know here locally, artist expectations are here, reality's here, and then there's nothing in the middle that people want to care about. So that's why it doesn't work most of the time. You want to be looking at what your expectations are in detail. Do you want to be on the radio? Do you want to be on the news, interviews? Or do you want popularity on social media? Okay, that's one perspective. Second perspective of that is you want plays and do you want to build a foundation? Because that's the huge difference. Because there's a lot of artists that get that exposure that go on all these news networks, they go on these radio shows, they get one play on local radio, they get all that, and they get that exposure. But their plays they don't have that foundation. They don't have that reach. Now, there's artists that also have social media reach, let's say, or there's artists that don't know how to do that. There's different aspects of that. That's also important. Social media reach right now is huge. The more you have reach, the better. The more people eyeballs on it, is better. But it all eventually comes down to one thing. You might be the most popular artist ever, but nobody's listening. It doesn't really matter. Just like podcasts. If there's nobody listening, and it's just an interesting story. We'll get to that later on today. It doesn't matter. So what's more important to you as an artist? Do you want to be visible or do you want plays? Now, if you want plays, there needs to be a built of foundation. And that's if you have a good PR firm or management, they will understand that. They'll understand that just to have you out there is not good enough because there's a lot of artists and management and PR companies that are like, oh yeah, post once or twice a week, done, you have a profile, you have a presence. Having a presence is nothing now. Everybody has a presence. Doing something with that presence is key. And if you have the right marketing company, PR company, and I know it's expensive for independent artists, but you have to look for the right one. It is key to your growth. And if you want that foundation, you have to achieve it somehow. You can't just go and think, oh, label is going to pick me up 100 listens on Spotify. No, it doesn't work that way. You build a foundation over a long period of time of listens, of marketability, of people knowing you, of everything to get somewhere. It doesn't just happen. Just because you made a music video, just because you had a couple plays, because your friends listen, it is not the foundation yet. It's a pathway to get there. But you need the right team. I'm not selling myself here. It's not about that. Find the right team for you. People have found me as part of their team and are doing tremendous things. You want to be a part of that? Info's out there. I am A&R. I will help you. It's all part of everything. But there's also a key to this because my services are free. Okay. I do not charge. And there's also a podcasting thing we'll get to later. I don't charge for my music promotion here for the show. And I don't charge for my contacts. So to be on the show, to get on the playlist, to have your stuff promoted, free. A lot of podcasts don't do that. Some do. Some do. No, it's good. As they should. No, you should not pay for play. Ever. As an independent artist, no. You should not. I've had celebrities ask me to pay them to be on my show. Fuck no. But it's happened. I am not paying people to be on my show. Absolutely not. And you don't have to pay me to be on my show either. It's all a network thing. Okay? But if you want to invest in your future, you have to find the right team. Whatever team works best for you. There is a lot of PR companies I know that are doing great things with promotion, getting their people out there, getting them nominated for awards, doing this and that. Awesome. But what are your goals? That's the key here. That's what you want to know before you get too deep into this, because once you spend money on something, you could use that for something else. Okay. That's what I want to put out there. Promotion is very important. It's key. And you have to know how you want to invest your time and your money. So putting all that out there, hopefully some of that helps. Podcasting. Podcasting, how does this play into? Because as I'm doing research for things I need and things some of my friends need and PR stuff and whatever else, I find there's a lot of dead podcasts, lots, thousands of dead podcasts. And I wanted to look at the genre of where this podcast is in the music. And there's not a lot of active podcasts that do what I do. There isn't. There is some, and they're great. I support everybody. But there is a lot of dead podcasts. For like 90% of the podcasts I found in this genre, and what I do, are dead. Dead. They don't have social media anymore. They stopped posting. They're out of business. They're done. They didn't survive. I've been doing this for almost 4 years now, 3.5, this show, and I'm kicking it strong. But there's a lot of podcasts that didn't survive. There's a lot of reasons for that. We're not going to get into that. But there are some that are left over are charging artists to be on. Well, to charge artists to be on, you're going to have to bring value to that artist. You can't just charge an artist to come on and you're going to be like, hey, do an interview, post it up, and that's it. And then what value have you brought? Well, what kind of experience? What can you guarantee for your artist that you've brought on as a guest as value? And there's only a few that do that. Some have thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of followers and all that other cool stuff. Great. That's good. Value. So that's been an interesting experiment because I found a lot of podcasts are dead. And because podcasts don't survive, it is a very hard thing to do, is to keep a podcast like this afloat. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. To me, it's rewarding. That's why it's not gonna die, because it's rewarding to what I do. I have time. I have patience to meticulously do what I got to do in my office, in the studio. It's all set. I don't have to rent out my space. I don't have anything else in the way of me doing this. I can do this indefinitely. And as long as there's artists like many of you listening, I will be in business forever. So that's great. Now, again, this is a business. What do I get out of it? You'll ask me that, because what do I get out of it is I get to work with amazing artists, and opportunities for them and myself come up as things go on and projects come on, and I love being involved in those. I do not, like I said, charge for anything, but I love the support and I love supporting. A lot of artists have bought my gear. Love it. Thank you for buying my gear. Thank you for buying my gear. And it supports the show. And doesn't go to me, it goes to buying more equipment, getting better mics, cameras, things like that, expanding my reach. Just all goes for the show. And I love it because it gets the brand out there. That's why I support artists. I go to a concert if they're coming locally. I do that. I support them by sharing their stuff. And if you're an artist and you just happen to be part of the team you picked to promote you, you get promotion. Just how it is. You have to have the right contacts. And that's the independent music industry needs more of that. It needs more of cohesion, needs more of levels of support, not everybody being by themselves, because it doesn't go anywhere. You need to raise each other up. And podcasting is very similar. And there's not too many in my genre left around anymore. Shows are kind of scattered, which is fine. It's great. Do your thing. It's been really hard finding shows kind of similar into my niche, but it's okay. Everybody does their own thing. For those that survive, and like I said, they mostly don't. A lot of podcasts die after a very short time. So even though I wish some of that on some podcasts that I know locally, it's going to happen. I guarantee that. And I'll be there because I want to survive. Like I mentioned in the last video, I'm not going anywhere. And veering off the whole music thing into the local, I'm truly wish, and I know it's going to happen, so I have to wish that some of these people will realize this is not for them and will just stop and just give up, go do something else, go offend everybody else in whatever other field. Please don't podcast. And for those that are listening for the first time, that's not to be rude. I've done a lot of podcast episodes where it's just on podcasting, how to podcast, and some tips. And one of my best tips is when you're starting a podcast, you just don't, because if you're not ready to do it, just like this person here locally, if you're not ready to do it, and if you're not ready to be legit and original, there's no point. There's just no point, because anyone can go on get what they need to do a podcast. Anyone can, and then copy word for word what somebody else does and pretend it's their own thing. We don't do that here. It's like copying other music artists. No, we don't do that here. So that kind of always in the back of my head here on the shows, and I keep coming up because I hate that. I hate when people aren't genuine. I hate when people are stupid, and I will not tolerate that. And speaking of stupid, besides stupid and bloom, spam. As artists, independent artists, and you're on any social media, you know this. At podcasters, we all know this. Spam is insane, and it's getting to an amount where it's just I just can't tolerate it anymore. You have podcast promoters left and right messaging, literally DMing all of my pages on Facebook, which Facebook is garbage. I don't even know why I'm there. Instagram, it's easier to block them, which when they do message, you can filter, which is good. Now Twitter, there's tools to help you with Twitter. I think Facebook's the worst one. And now they're starting with the emails. Now, I understand people trying to do a business, but this is all 99.999999999 is a scam. Nobody who does a podcast who's serious about it is going to take should take any of these people as their offer, as this is what they should do. I don't need a podcast marketer DMing me who can't even put together a sentence to tell me they're going to promote my podcast. If you can't communicate as a first step in anything, I am not going to hire you. Plus, I don't hire people that I don't know, and I don't hire people that don't have an established program. If you have a company, I know a lot of companies that do promotion podcasts and digital media and all that other stuff. Okay, that's different. But a random person, I'm a podcast, that's not legit. That's all scams. I easily say 100% scams. And it just takes up time, takes up valuable time, where I have to deal with this bullshit on all platforms. And my phone, I don't even know how the fuck this thing works anymore. It's a new phone anyway, but it's just it drains the battery twice a day. Between all the apps I use, between all the things that I do on the phone with creating content and emails and all these apps and shit for the show, I don't even know how this thing survives. And now you're adding another layer of that I have to deal with constantly. Go back and delete, block, delete, block, delete, block. That's a pain in the fucking ass. So if there's anybody that created anything to deal with this bullshit, or I hope Facebook eventually dies so I don't have to deal with this anyway, please help, because this is fucking bullshit and I really don't need it at this point in the show, as everything is going tremendously well. And I want to dedicate more time to promotion and not to deleting DMs, emails, comments, even that comments. You block somebody, they still comment on shit. Like I don't know. There's only so much you can do, and I just need it to stop because it's just not necessary. And out of these billion-dollar companies, you would think they have something in the system that would annihilate this type of behavior, but they don't. That's the show. That's the show for today. A lot of music stuff, a lot of podcast things, anything you guys want to talk about, I'm open to talking about it. There's an episode coming up I want to do with podcasters and music, and we'll work on that in the summer. There's going to be a collab episode coming up I want to do. So if you're a podcaster and you want to talk music, I will have an episode. Keep an eye out for that information. I will be messaging some independent podcasters out there to have a collab episode. If you're an independent podcaster listening to this for the first time, hello, message me. I will keep you in mind. You're going to talk music and we'll get something together. And there's going to be a really big episode at some point with all that. But there you go. There's some information for artists. I hope that helps. I really hope that helps artists who are struggling in the music industry right now and need some support. And there's ways about it. I'm not saying this is the way, but there are other ways. There are many ways to get about things, and you have to be locked into one thing, and you should know your expectations and your goals beforehand. Because if your expectation is to be famous just because you think you have talent, that is no longer the only thing that will get you there. You need a team of people, and believe in yourself, invest in yourself, and not into things that are not necessary. So still, best advice that I could give. Like, follow, subscribe for the show. If you've gotten this far, make sure you hit that subscribe button on the YouTube, and you are following on whatever streaming platform you're listening to for the regular show. And I appreciate you. Check out the merch. Check out everything else in the link tree, link in bio. Support the show the best way you can, and we'll keep this going. I'll talk to you guys next time.